Hello, everyone. I'm Alec of Let's Get You Painted and Racked and Confused and the Atlanteans. And today I have another special episode for Let's Get You Painted where we are going to stream it here live and then we're going to record it later on and have it put on the Let's Get You Painted channel where we try to help everyone get their gray piles into beautifully painted minis to be on the table so you can rush across the enemy and possibly kill them, possibly not, depending on your dice rolls. And remember, the enemy of good is perfect. So here I'm going to have Mozz here from the Blackwater Cantina. So tell us about yourself.
Oh, yeah. So I have been a nerd for a very long time. 30 odd years of hobby behind me. I've worked for Games Workshop in the store. I know that's the potentially the bad word in some places, but
No,
been a red shirt. So I've worked as a commission painter, and I painting is the side of the hobby that I like the most. So that's kind of my bag. I have a couple of painting awards. There we
oh,
go.
just a few.
Hidden up here. I, these are the only two, and they're both for the same model, so I don't know that it really counts. kind of
I I
kind of
have
cheating a little bit.
zero, so
Yeah.
I have a map of the U.S. That's what I want.
Yeah. So yeah, I play a lot of War Machine. We run the Blackwater Cantina podcast, so we're quite active in War Machine community, trying to build a big community on the south coast of the UK. So it's a bit of a quiet scene down here. It's more in the north of the UK, so we're trying to get some events and things down here. So yeah, thought I'd come on and talk painting.
I appreciate that. So I think you know that the gist of what we try to do here, it's just getting people to get more comfortable with their painting, that not everything has to be a display piece, that if it looks good from 4 feet away, that's great. And not everyone has time. And it's one of the things I'm hoping to have some other people come on who are actually like really high quality WTC players, which is the World Team Championship. I'm trying to get some of those people to come on and talk about how you only have so much time in the day, and it's do you want to dedicate it to learning your faction, learning the fluff, or learning to paint? And if you have, 2 hours that you can dedicate a week or a day, however, what your system is, what do you want to spend your time on? And what I try to teach people to do, I think if you've watched this stuff before, is if you have 30 to 45 minutes, you can put that into a solo or maybe a couple of people minis for a unit and start getting done so that in if you do 40 to 60 hours total, and I know that sounds like a lot of painting time, but if you do 5 hours a week, it really isn't. You're fully painted for your entire faction, or not your faction, but your entire army in 3 to 4 months. And people need to know that they can do it because when you look at the giant pile of 60 models, it just looks like it's unsurpassable. But it is you can do it, and that's what I try to do. And I also try to show people that everybody makes mistakes. I was rushing this morning while trying to dry brush something, and on it, I'm going to take it up with the camera here. I put too much. My brush was too wet. I had too much paint on it, and I screwed it up. But I'm going to take this here, and I'm going to show you how even though I didn't dry brush it correctly, I did it wrong, that it's going to work. So I'm gonna show Mozz here. I did a bad job. That's way too much paint to dry brush. That's way too much. But I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna make it work. And I'm gonna do that while talking to him because as I've said in previous episodes, going to your local game store or your local place to hang out and just chatting with your friends on fluff, on what they like to paint while painting takes the stress off it and you'll find you'll have a better paint job. So that's what I'm going to attempt to do today. So we'll see if it works.
Let's see if I can sidetrack you as much as possible. Huh?
Oh, that's great. Yeah, there have been people who see like I stop talking, I'm really focused in, and they ask me a question like, "So Menoth," and I'm like, "Oh, hold on, let's go." So let's start with what is one of your favorite minis that you have painted, either in the past or in the future, and why is it one of your favorite? Is it because the fluff of the mini? Is it because you learned a new skill? Is it because when it was a gray, sad piece. It killed something and now it deserves to get painted. So tell me why.
So for me, it is Cephalix Dark Operations. The whole Cephalix fluff
Okay.
is just spot on. Iron Kingdoms, it's creepy. They they kind of have that feel about them, and the way the models look, the way they like hover above the thing. You remember the episode of Buffy with the gentleman where they're just silently
Yes.
hovering around? Just have that kind of image. And they were one of the first armies I ever just fully painted every single model. Every time they release something, I'm like, right, boom, painted it straight away.
I
And I
mean, they
couldn't.
have great IKRPG fluff. They have great fluff in the actual
Mhm.
books. When they were working with Crix, they've. I feel like the Cephalics are like the like perfect enemy to Convergence
Yeah,
because they're trying to take everything and do it, but they kind of get pulled into, oh, we're gonna go help this people, or we're gonna help, or go against this, and there's been a lot of really good books about the Cephalics too.
that's it. They just turn up, and it's just I really enjoy painting the like the flowing robes and the whole thing. And I remember getting my first like fully painted 100 points was a Cephalix army for
Hmm.
Mark II, I think, when they first hit. And you got
Yes.
Exelon Thexus, and he was the only caster. But and I was like, right, I finally had a. I've always normally been one for, oh, I'm going to follow the box art, or I'm going to do the like standard studio scheme or whatever, and I don't usually vary too far from it. But
Hmm.
this was the first time I looked at it and I said, I want that in Victorian style, sort of beige, blood splattered surgeon robes. And I think that would look fantastic. So that's what I did across the whole army. And it just came, it was a hell of a lot of fun to paint. It was fantastic for like learning all of those little techniques, like doing blood splatter and all of those kind of
Oh,
effects and
did you
things.
did you flick the brush? Put some red on it
Yeah,
and flick.
yeah,
I.
with like, and this was back before you could get the blood for the blood god paint. So I was
Mhm.
mixing up different things to make different paints and testing them out on stuff,
I
and having a
remember
bit of
that.
fun with that.
Yeah,
So
it's always fun when you finally step away from like the studio style and you just, I'm gonna do my own thing and make it work, and sometimes it works and sometimes you repaint.
yeah, and there's been a number of repainted bits in that army where I've gone, actually that's not landed where I wanted it, and bits and pieces. So they were just all of the models. They've got that nice creepy look, and I just wanted the paint job to reflect how I felt that they felt in the lore and everything like that as well. So I kind of pushed myself quite a lot on those. Got
Uh,
full field allowance for Mark III, which is a lot of drudges. Uh,
yeah. Well, I mean, at least now they're 5-man instead of 10-man units, because that would have been even more, as
I mean,
in,
they were all. I've got all 10-man units painted, and
oh
this is where
man.
I'm a sucker for punishment, because now they've obviously done the Hiveman Cadre and the Iconoclast and everything,
Hmm.
and now I'm like, well, I want to paint those and try these new techniques. So
Hmm.
now I'm going to repaint a whole full field allowance for Mark IV of new stuff.
Oh man, that's now. Are you 3D printing them or are you buying them?
I'm 3D printing them, so at least it's a little bit cheaper. But
Okay.
yeah, I've actually I wanted them to be on sewer bases because they're creepy. And after playing
Hmm.
the Undercity, which is here,
Yes.
we're all like creeping through the sewers and everything. I was like, that's fantastic. So I was like, okay, I want some sewer bases, and I found some online, and I was like, okay, these kind of work, but they're the wrong size for War Machine bases. So learn Blender to resize them, and then I'm like, well, I want everyone to be on a unique base. So now I'm learning Blender to sculpt my new base to put them on.
No, I
So
so I do that on Fusion 360, and
yeah,
then I also do it through I have bamboo P1Ss, so I don't have resin, and I also do some of the stuff through the Bamboo Labs, and I do what's called
right,
digital kit bashing, where I'll take 5 different pieces and then combine them in. Like I'll resize so the base insert's going to be correct, and then I'll add in rocks, or I'll add in stones, and I'll do that. One of the things I'm trying to learn on Fusion 360 is do the virtual, excuse me, skeleton inside a model, and then you can then
right.
move the legs. And I was like, That's awesome. And it's like my wife laughs at me. She's like, "So that's the new skill you're learning." Like for me when I was in Germany, everyone's like, "Oh, it's so hard to learn a new language." But if I found a food I liked, then I could learn that language. Like I started learning Turkish because I liked Doner so much. So much. I was like, I'm gonna learn how to speak to these guys because everyone's like, oh yeah, they all speak German or English. And I was like, no, no, no. I'm gonna talk to them in their language and tell them how much I enjoy their food. And it's like the thing that that forces you to learn something new. And that's why I'm learning to get back to it. That's why I'm learning try to do skeletons so I can take some of the models we're getting in my mini factory for the
Yeah.
tribes so I can resculpt them because I love kit bashing. Like I'll show you something that you might appreciate as a I'll step away, stop painting for a second. Um,
I knew I'd managed to sidetrack you from
you
painting
did, you
earlier.
did, you win.
Didn't take long, did
Um,
it?
so this is my Resnick 2.
Nice. Oh,
So he has Kadorian war horses. He has the Kadorian because if you remember in Mark 3, you could blend some of the forces. So with Warriors of the Old
yeah.
Faith, I had him with a war dog, and I would have the gun carriages. So I made a new one. This is my
To fit
third
in with
one
that, yeah.
to make it fit, and it's one of those things
That's
that I love doing. So I'm trying to learn how to do digital kit bashing nowadays because I
So
feel like that's where we
it's
are.
one of the things where I'm going to have four of each monstrosity. I don't want them to all be identical, so I'm going to look at reposing them and doing all of those bits. I've not gotten that far yet, but trying to practice what I've learnt so far and get all my bases made, and then we'll go to reposing. But then it opens up the wonderful things to animating them, and because I'm doing it in
I
Blender, you
know.
can animate and texture, and so I just like the
Yes.
idea of having a like creepy cephalix thing hovering along and making a little thing with all the little blades twitching and everything. Um,
Man, this is a pipe dream. I'm hoping that Steamforge Games will start giving us animated movies or little shorts. Like we used to get we got three of them, I think, from Privateer. But with where technology has come in, animating things, I'm kind of hoping we get, trailers, like something. And I was like, because I feel like it's prime to show, you know, like the cephalics coming out of the sewers and having to deal with, the Signarians coming over here or the steelheads trying to be city guards and now they're having to call in warcasters and warjacks to try to, I want that. I don't know if that's in the cards, and I don't know if anyone from
yeah,
Steamforge is going to listen to this, but I would love to see that, and I'm sure there's other people who would too.
that's it. I like is it the Haley versus Denegra little
Yes.
5 6 minutes? Anytime anyone's like, "Oh, what's this war machine? What's going on?" and I'm like, "Well, watch this, and then we'll go from there." And
Yeah,
it's
I
yeah,
always do that, and then I also do the little cutscenes we would get from War Machine Tactics.
yeah,
I'm like, this
yeah.
is what it is, and they're like, oh, okay, cool. I'm like, oh, we need more of it. I do uh, a Iron Kingdoms game every 2 weeks. So in here in New York, it's been going for 5 months. Actually, before we even bought the house, I had already developed a D&D group specifically for IKRPG with 5 people, and I was like, I got this. Like, I know what I need. And then my wife's like, "Can we now buy a house?" I was like, "Yeah, yeah. Now we can buy a house. I now have a D&D group and I have a centralized location, so it'll be fine." Um, I mean, obviously, I was looking at houses before then, but my wife says I have my priorities, and she says, what she says is, "Oh, did it tickle your tism?" And I was like, "It does. Like, I know what I need, and that's one of them." Uh, but so tell me one of your favorite painting techniques, or I guess yeah, we'll start with one of your favorite painting techniques, and then what is a suggestion you have for a new painter?
So I've been a little obsessed with non-metallic metal for probably about
Oh,
4 years now.
I have never done a good non-metallic metal. Please, please teach me.
I'm not well. I know I'm not going to suggest I'm the best in the world at it, but so I thought to myself, okay, well, I'm going to just try it on one model and see how I do. And I looked at it at the end, and I was like, So I was then like, okay, here's the way we're going to do it. I'm going to do this small army, and I'm going to do the whole army in it, and that's how I'm going to keep repeating that process till it's
Hmm.
done. So now I've got a fully painted Dusk faction for Mark IV, which is all non-metallic metal, and that's the third army I've done for it. Bar, I think I've got about 13 models left to paint, and then I'm fully painted across the whole
Oh
faction.
wow.
And the new Mark IV Cephalics are all going to be non-metallic metal as well. So I'm just pushing it and pushing it and pushing it, and each time trying to go right. Okay, how can I take that a step further? Um,
That's awesome. That's
just practicing that one thing. And that's
and it probably doesn't hurt that Mark IV Dusk with the update are amazing rules wise.
they're looking a lot better. I still need to get the hang of the Phantasm, but it's did some work. I've just come back from a steamroller. We were at a 20-person steamroller at the weekend,
Hmm.
and I was want to say I was 11th.
Okay.
So I didn't do great on the tabletop, but I did win best painted. So that's
Hey, that's what works. I know I'm never gonna win the tournament and I'm not gonna win for best painted, but I could win for best sportsmanship. I'll help you. There's been times I help my opponent to beat me. Actually, I did that in Virginia Beach at a steamroller. I was at top table, and my opponent's like, "Oh, I don't know how to do here." Funny enough, he was actually playing with Cephalix, and I was like, "Oh, super easy." I was like, "All you need to do is just charge up here, or you need to walk up, attack this, and then that's gonna kill that, and then you need to pull me towards you, and then you just kill my caster." And he's like, "Well, I didn't know how to do that," and I was like, "Oh no, I'm about to lose."
the
And
old
the judge came, yeah.
subduer from halfway across the table. Yeah, I still loved it. I've been playing at a large tournament in Mark III, and my opponent ran. Um, what was his name? The Scorn guy with the blade fans.
Oh,
Ran him forward on turn one,
yeah.
and I looked at it, measured it, did the little bit of mental maths. I was like, oh, top of turn one assassination, anyone? Managed to telekinesis me out and him in and net launch and pull him over and then bam wrecker to him, and it was all, all done.
I remember Kane 2 doing that to me. Ugh. He's like, "Oh, you're within
Yeah.
my assassination range." Oh no. That's always
It's
a great
all
question. Bottom of two or top of two. Hey, so what's your defense and armor? And you're like, "Oh no. I uh-oh."
that's it. So yeah, that's the technique that I'm kind of working through is non-metallic metal. I think just lots of practice on it has been the answer. I've actually also painted two black and white armies and the Cursed City stuff as well. And
Okay.
so obviously you need to non-metallic metal all of that when you're doing it all in grayscale. Because I thought,
Yeah.
oh, grayscale will be easy. It's just black and white. It's really not.
No, no. I I might not be a top tier painter, but I can watch enough. It's kind of like, when you watch someone work on your car and you're like, "Oh no, this is gonna be expensive," because you see them start taking stuff apart. Same thing with painting for me. I watch you guys paint and I'm like, "Oh, that's amazing. It's super difficult. If only my
That's it.
hand would operate with what my brain wants it to do."
It's all just practice at the end of the day, isn't it? It's more rather than saying, oh, actually, I can't do that technique, so I won't try it. It's more, I'm just going to try it, and I'm going to be bad at it, and then after 200 hours of it or whatever, you're suddenly not bad at it, and you're like, oh, actually, and that's what it takes. It's keep plugging away at it, learning the new thing. So
Absolutely. One of the things I talk about sometimes with people is like, where do you want to put your time, and like, do you want to learn a new skill? Because you can. Everyone can learn a new skill. It's like, but do you want to dedicate it to painting? Do you want to dedicate it to playing games, learning your history of your game? Because some people I've noticed if they want to get better, it's just memorizing their cards, like learn the stats of
Mm.
everything, so you don't have to look down. You're like, oh, is this guy mat 6? Is this mat 5? Does he have an extra skill? And sometimes, when you don't think you have the time, you're like, oh, I don't have time for it. And you're like, well, the next time you're going to go sit on the toilet, you're probably going to have your phone with you. Bring your, you know, open
Yeah.
up War Machine or the War Room app. Or, yeah, it's War Machine app. I always want to call it
War
War
machine app
Room,
now,
but
yeah.
it's War Machine app now. And it's like, sit down, learn your army. Well, maybe if you don't want to do that, sit down, pull up, Black Cantina and learn some fluff. Or black, sorry,
Yeah.
it's Blackwater Cantina. I'm sorry, I always call you the Black Cantina, but it's Blackwater Cantina. And I was like, and learn some fluff because you guys have great fluff over there. Or, pull up a painting channel and learn non-metallic metal and just sit there.
I've just done a video on non-metallic metal and how I do mine, so there you go. You can learn it from me.
There you go. You can learn it from him. I'm just gonna continue to do some simple, slab chopping stuff to get this guy fixed. But you know what? Then he'll be on the table and he'll be painted. So
That's it.
is your tip for new painters just try it until you get it? Fake it till you make it?
Pretty much. I mean, a big part of that is watching videos doing it, watching these new techniques and things you want to try, and trying to do a hobby hangout. Go to somewhere where you can paint with other people, or even if you just get some people on a Discord and sit and chat and paint, and then you can go, oh, I'm struggling to wet blend this. Someone there will have tried 200 hours of wet blending and will be able to go, I cocked it up like this, and this. So now you can learn from my mistakes, and here you go.
That's
And
a great idea.
yeah,
Go
that
ahead.
will get you going, get you learning things that otherwise you'd have made the mistake, and you can preempt theirs. And yeah, I think it,
And
it helps. It helps with the motivation as well to just keep you rolling and keep plugging away at stuff. So
if you happen to be looking for a place to do that, if you go to Discord and then you go to the War Machine Discord, they just happen to have a spot that you can do that. And you don't have to share your screen. You can just watch other people do it. But yeah, if you mention, people will help you.
that's it. And
Uh,
yeah, I love a good hobby hangout. That's
yeah,
how I like to paint. So
one of my favorite things to do at a convention is to go to the painting area. And it's not necessarily even painting, with people who are doing War Machine or maybe 40K or something. Just sit down and paint with people. Like someone's painting Battletech and someone's painting Necromunda and things like that. And they just sit and sometimes you can, acquire them for the hobby. They're like, oh, that sounds pretty cool. It's, the former press ganger side of it. Like, oh, let me bring you into my group because it's gonna be great.
so people going, oh, what are you painting there? Well,
Well, let me show you. It works out well though.
that's
I
it.
uh I like to bring people together. It's probably why I did well, community building and press ganging and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So let's
we
see. So
never.
what is one of your favorite pieces you've painted in your, 30 years of painting? What's one of your favorite? Is it a old nasty looking guy? Is it something beautiful? Is it something you repainted 10 times? So tell me.
So
No pressure.
a couple of years ago, I was starting to, well, many years ago now, probably about, I know she's an original 1996 Necromunda model. So that's to give you an idea. And it was the first time I tried to do object source lighting. And then probably about 10 years later, I was like, right, I'm going to go back and try it again. So this is her on her little thing. We'll just do it like that.
Yeah. She looks
And then,
beautiful. I love that.
and this is now, I think, about 4 or 5 years old on that paint job. So she's probably going to get stripped down and painted again to see now how I can push it. And every time I collage the pictures together so I can see, right, okay, this is where I was. Now that's where I am. Now that's where I am. So she's called Chastity. She lives in my cabinet right next to all sorts of other things that are everywhere. Everything from busts to individual space marines, and the Phantasm is in there, and Invictus.
Have you
And
thought about trying to buy multiples of her so that you could then not have to strip her and have, you know, five of her next to each other?
yeah, it's getting hold of original 90s
I
Necromunda minis is a bit of a challenge. So
I understand.
I think
I had to do my insurance claim for here for moving because the army movers packed up some of my stuff, and I had to like share with them. I was like, "Oh yeah, this mini has been out of print for 17 years. Like you can get this on eBay for $500." And they're like, "But the acquisition cost is 30." And it's like, "Yeah, yeah, that was it in like 1998 when
yeah,
$30 was expensive back then, and now no one has it."
that's it. It's some of the bits and pieces that I've accrued over the years. A copy of Chaos in the Old World, and I realized there were
Mhm.
some tokens missing, and I was like, I wonder if I can pick up another copy to make sure I've got enough all of the tokens, and it's like 350 quid. And I'm like, okay, just gonna 3D print some tokens for it to replace them.
Yes, that's I actually one of the reasons I'm really excited that Steam Forge is releasing so many of their old minis in digital format is because, you know, with Privateer, when they're like, "Oh, nope, this is out of print. We are never making another one." And I'd look at stuff and I'm like, I need to see if I can try to scan this and make it work. Not to, sell, but just for me in case I break it or it gets broken. And but here
Yeah,
it's awesome. Go ahead.
the number of guys that I know are like, oh, I always wanted a slaughterhouse for my Grimkin. Of course, you had to go straight to Black Anchor Heavy Industries, and then shipping it to the UK, and then that was a 200 and something pound model,
Yeah.
and it was people just couldn't justify it for the most part, especially as I don't think it was ever actually particularly great in. So,
No, it wasn't good until, well, I think it was in 3.5 when it got that update when Faye did the update, with like Oblivion and everything. But then when it
yeah,
went to Mark 4, it was trash again, and then it slowly got it to be upgraded again.
I did pick one up years ago. But I actually did a painting commission, and the guy said, "Oh, I haven't got any money. Can I pay you with this full field allowance Grimkin army?" And I
Oh,
was like, "Oh, yeah, sure." I painted, I think, 6 knights for him, and in the most gaudy color scheme. If I say Iron Brew, that probably means nothing to you guys, does it? But
no, I know what that is.
yeah, the Iron Brew color scheme. So it was bright orange and blue,
Yeah.
like quartered 40k knights.
I
Yeah,
mean,
that was
if that's what he wanted, that's what he wanted.
he desperately had to have that. So I ended up with full field allowance Grimkin, and they're still not painted. So there we go.
So I had a full field allowance Grimkin that I painted for my wife. So when we moved to Germany in 2018, 2019, I had no one to play with at where I was in Kaiserslautern. There just was no one, and I hadn't started a community there yet. So my wife's rule was if I give her a fully painted army, she'll learn the rules and she'll play with me. Like when we were in Fayetteville in uh, 2011. So before like the community hadn't really picked up there, I had a fully painted Kador that I painted for her. But yeah, I painted a fully everything for her in Grimkin over the years. Like probably my best painted minis because it was for her. Like I would take, even on a single Hollow Man, I would take 2 to 3 hours for for a 10-man unit plus
The lantern.
the Lantern Man,
Yeah.
and having to then after the Crossroads campaign having to do a Hollow Hold-in, and she wanted each of the 10-man units to look slightly different, different color schemes, not just different bases, and I took so much time. Or I did on the Skin and Moans, I did 12 different paint color schemes by having pictures up on my screen of different people, like and their complexions. So each of the faces on the Skin and Moans looked different to like, oh, this was probably a ginger who had some, like blotchy skin, and then this was someone who was over here with dark, and just like different things over the whole. It took so long, but it was a beautiful army, and funny enough, the movers broke it, um,
Of course.
including including a slaughterhouse. I think the only thing I have left for that army that wasn't broken was the heretic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
And I did
yeah,
a bright green mask on his like his Mardi Gras staff where he had the face. I did like bright green like the movie The Mask with Jim Carrey. Like that was the mask.
yeah. I think my Grimkin army. I've painted 100 points of it last year for a journeyman, and then all of it is in black and white for the whole thing, and then
Mhm.
there's like glowing pink mushrooms, or like where the lantern man's holding the light source, that's glowing pink, and that's
Mhm.
casting the pink OSL on them. So that was quite a lot of fun. Quite
I
enjoyed
can
that.
imagine.
They look suitably creepy. So
I'm possibly, well, depending on how the insurance comes for the replacement, that, and then I'm hoping to do, you know, uh, the Frontier, so I can buy Infernals and Grimkin and what's the
convergence.
in Convergence. I want to buy all of those so that I can then print them again. I'll put like a point 0.2 nozzle on and do like point 0.0 at layer lines, and it'll take 60 hours to print, one piece, but it'll look pretty good. And I want to do that for Grimkin again. Not because I think my wife's going to play with me anymore. She knows that I'm developing a community up here in Watertown, but because I really love using them in IKRPG as the bad guys.
Yeah.
Like I have this whole thing in my campaign that I've actually pitched to Sherwin. I'm like, can we do this fluff wise? Probably not. Um, but the idea is a criminal organization captures a trapperkin or several trapperkin, and then in each of the city areas you have a trapperkin exit hole, and they basically their base is in the trapperkin layer, and because they have the doors always open, they never close. So they can travel throughout all of Kane, through all of the Iron Kingdom areas, and they can't. See, I put the brush out to tell you about it. Um, but it's a really cool idea because here, this criminal organization like these Kayazi, they can travel anywhere, they can smuggle anything, they can get their assassins in to, murk someone over here and then get through over here. And it's like if I had a make a wish like dying of cancer and I can get something that would be and put this into the fluff. They'd be like, oh, you don't want to meet Michael Jordan? No, no, I want this to be in fluff
I
in
want this to be
in War
real.
Machine.
That's it.
But yeah, that
Yeah. I I love the one of the short stories about the trapperkin and people going into his little hole, and it's all made of hair, and it just creeped me out. Made my skin crawl. It's great.
oh yeah, that's uh, that was the story by Matt Wilson in Strange Ways, I believe, wasn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah, in
Yeah.
the asylum. That was a good
Yes.
story.
I think Grimm can make phenomenal like villain pieces for roleplay,
I
and
so one of the cool things about them, again, they're not evil. I mean, some of them are kind of, but it's all Grimm's fairy tales. It's like the murder crows. Murder crows aren't evil. Murder crows punish bad politicians and, bad bankers. That's who they
yeah,
go after. They don't go after, Joe Blow who's just trying to get by, or the piggybacks. The piggybacks go after farmers who are evil and don't share. They're like, "Oh, you're gonna, do bad business and you're gonna make your neighbor starve. Perfect. You're gonna be on a piggyback. Congratulations."
yeah, and that's how I always sell the army to anyone. I'm always like, right, these are based on fairy tales. These are the folklore of the system, and they're the things that go bump in the night. That's what I love them, and the models are all so characterful. They're definitely one of the best sculpted ranges. I
They
think
are.
they've got so much going on.
Man,
Yeah.
I've always wanted like a Dreamer alternate. So the Dreamer was an okay mini. She looks beautiful. She has her things. I always wanted like a Dreamer where she is like, so she's floating in the air,
Mm.
perpendicular to the ground. I always wanted one where she was at like 45 or like in a bed and she's floating above the bed. And like I only had the one Dreamer model, but if I ever bought another one, or maybe if I do this Kickstarter or not the Kickstarter, the Tribes Frontier, I might I might do that. I might digitally sculpt her, floating out of a bed, like, get a bed piece and then do it and then attach what looks like her sheets coming to her and she's like coming out of the bed. That would be, I think, fun.
That's
Again, reasons
wow.
like to digital kit bash and things you can do.
That's it. Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to these because we've got. I think the wife bought into Infernals, so she's got a couple of models that she wasn't able to get hold of, and she's got Convergence as well. And there was a few models there that, again, just were a bit of a nightmare to get hold of over here. So
Yeah.
being able to
I
just top those up.
I sold my I didn't really sell. It was pretty much I shipping was the cost to do it, but I sold my Infernals armies when I was in Virginia Beach to my buddy Spencer because I thought he was going to get back into War Machine. So my fully painted Infernals I sold for $50, which was the cost to ship it to him.
Mm.
A little bit of regret on that one. Just a
And
little.
then he never played, yeah.
No, and that's the thing is he never played. Yeah,
No.
and I get it. Like people don't
And if
have
he's
time for
watching
stuff.
now, he needs to dust that army off and start playing because.
No, I know his response would be like, "I'll just send it back to you." That would be his response. Sorry, man, can't do it. Here's your army back. But again, Infernals were really fun enemies in the Iron Kingdoms in the like IKRPG because they can just come through. You have someone who makes a deal and now his soul is marked, and then you have a Soul Reaver who just pops up out of the ground. Congratulations! Now your group has to fight him.
Yeah, there's again they like, but they've existed in the fluff since day dot of when the Iron Kingdoms was a third edition D&D supplement,
Yep.
and they were just in. They existed right back then, and the
Yeah.
model, even the what's she called, the Umbral Guardian,
Hmm.
looks exactly like the original piece of art. And when the Frontiers thing comes out, I'm going to get one printed out, and then I'm going to try and paint it in the style of the original black and white art. I'm going to do a
Oh, that'll
second one that I want to paint in the style of the Mark, the fifth D&D fifth edition Requiem book.
hmm
She's in there, and there's a really nicely done modern version of that piece of artwork, same piece of artwork. And I want to paint her in that style with like all underlit red coming up, and I think it looks fantastic. So
that'll be
be
beautiful.
painting
I
a
can't
few
wait
of
to
those,
see that.
printing and painting a few of those, and buy the whole Infernals army just so I can do that.
You know, I you were talking about like how hard it was to get some pieces. So
Mm.
I had a problem. We'll call it a problem. Where with my wife, she's like anything you get for your disability for the army, you can put towards miniatures. And I was like, perfect. And there was a point when I bought um four, and this was too much. I bought four Shrines of Menoth, Shrines of the Lawgiver, so I could, cut them apart and make like two of them became terrain pieces, and then two of them I cut apart so that I could have steam blow out the center with LEDs and a little speaker pod that was about that big.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was not a great idea for an investment. It looks beautiful, like the terrain looks awesome, the minis look awesome, but the things we do because you said you were gonna buy the entire Frontier for one mini.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. I mean, I'll convince myself that at some point I'll paint an entire Infernals army, but I know by the time I finish my Dark Operations for this year, then Fane of Nero will be released, so I'm then going to be down that rabbit hole. So it'll end up the same as the Grimkin that I've got, where I'll do a 100-point list and I'll paint that, and then eventually I'll paint a second 100-point list to go with it, and that'll probably be as much as I get done. But you know,
well, how
get
good is your
sidetracked with
is your
painting.
local scene? You could always paint for a local and, you know, like paint just enough to get him started, and then you know hand it over to him and let him go wild, or her.
That's, yeah. I mean, that's one of the ideas of our sort of podcast is to try and build up our local scene, get people playing. We've got a really good local store. It's absolutely huge. It's got 65 full size tables, like 8 by 4 foot tables,
What's
with
the name of the
plenty of
store?
space in between.
So
Hmm?
if you get someone who's just coming in here for painting, what's the name of the store? Let's get people going to that store.
It's called Entoyment. So
Okay.
yeah,
Well, if you happen
and
to be over in the UK, stop by Entoyment.
yeah,
Play some War
and
Machine.
we're trying to convince them to stock War Machine at the moment. So they said get enough people playing, and then we'll stock it. So there you go. Get
Ah,
down, play War Machine at Entoyment. Come join
that's
us.
I hope so, man. That'd be awesome. I understand how that is. I mean, I get from the game store's perspective. They're like, we need to make money, so we need to sell minis, so we need to see people here playing.
That's it. And yeah, the we chat with the guy who owns the place, and he's a nice enough chap. So he's like, right, this is what you have. This is the minimum you have to hit of players on the
Hmm.
regular basis, and then we'll go. So, but we went from 3 of us playing to 16 of us in about 2 months. So
That's awesome.
yeah, I'm trying to stir up some more people now, but we want to do big events and steamrollers and tournaments and journeyman and all those sorts of things. So yeah,
Well, if I can swing it, I'll try to get you guys some terrain because I
yeah.
can print pretty decent with the FDM. It's not perfect, but I'll see if I can do that. We'll see how expensive it is to ship from the US to the
That's
UK.
always the trick, isn't it? So first of all, I've actually we invested in an FDM printer a
Hmm.
couple of months ago. So I've started printing some terrain for my house, and I'm gonna my goal. I think we want to run a steamroller towards sort of August September time, and I want to have at least 4 tables worth of the tribe terrain painted. So all the different theme ones. So I'm doing the dusk stuff at the moment. Do
Okay.
the Crypt one, do a Cephalix one, and then probably the Storm Legion one looks, I think, the most dramatic. Either that or the Crucible Guard stuff. I quite like that as well. So
Oh, the Crucible Guard with the lightning bolts and then the acid pits and yeah,
yeah, yeah, and the hill that's like the weird like platform with the railing around it and everything. I think that just looks quite cool. So it's nice eye catching stuff to be on a table. So that's the goal is to get some fully painted terrain out there and then start playing some tournaments and games down there. And they'll let us store it all in their big
that's really nice though.
stock room. So
I noticed it's like one of the reasons why I try to get people painted, even if it's painted badly, not badly, but not the highest quality, and especially with even with having terrain, is that if someone walks into a game store and there's two fully painted armies going at it, along with dynamic looking terrain, not something just like, oh, here, this is a like an L-shaped, wall with a,
yeah,
not that I'm throwing shade at any other gaming system, uh, but being able to go in and see the hills and the break and or like a building that looks like it has collapsed that's possibly hollowed out and you can walk into it like the old Umbri terrain. You have the
yeah,
cathedral. I like seeing that type of stuff. It's pretty cool to me, and I think the number of times, like heck, when we were at Nova, people would, so at the Nova Open, which is in Washington D.C., and it's near the Labor Day weekend in the US every year. You'd be surprised how many people come over because they see the table, they see the fully painted armies, and then they're like, "Oh, that looks really cool." And it's this the stuff is scattered and changed. It's not just, "Oh, this piece is in this quadrant and this piece is in this quadrant." And again, not throwing shade at any other gaming system, but
but
it's
it's nice to be able to sort of tell more of a story with the terrain, isn't it? You want to build
yes.
a little. I this thing whenever I'm putting terrain out, even when I was using the 2D neoprene terrain at home because I could stuff it in a drawer and it was
Hmm.
never going to get broken, I would still put the houses and the walls out so it looked like it was a little village and they were all together and it made sense that they were all in a similar place and it looked like it told a little story.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing with our war game, and we're telling a story of this is what's happening, And I
This
don't
is
know,
this is why
it
it
just feels
is,
nice,
and
doesn't it? Yeah,
yeah, like I like that aspect of it. It's like I said at the Nova Open, they do a really good job of doing the terrain, and they do what's called like I call like 2.5, where it's the neoprene piece on bottom, and then you have the terrain piece on top for either the trees or
yeah,
for the buildings, so that the people who are like super hardcore, like this we have to measure down to the millimeter on, is this perfect, or the nanometer, let's pull out a tape measure and like, or not tape measure, like a magnifying glass. Oh, he is not touching that. But then you have the people who are there just for the fun. They're like, oh, hey, this is perfect, let's run over here and do this. So yeah, I definitely
yeah,
understand doing the neoprene terrain and then having beautiful terrain on top.
yeah, yeah.
So then, what do you love about painting? Does it calm you down? Do you just love the end product? Do you mean like, oh, hey, I like the actual like I know some people painting is like a thing they have to like slug through, but then some
Yeah.
people painting is like their calming thing. Like someone's gonna go out and, have a glass of whiskey, or someone will sit down and just, pull out their paints and paint, and just it's their zen thing at the end of the night. What is it for you? What is painting?
That's that's what it is for me. It's the relaxing. Actually, I wanna sit and I wanna enjoy painting. So I enjoy the process of painting. It's not even necessarily getting something finished at the end of it. I'm like, right, I want to. Whenever I sit down for a painting session, I'll always say, okay, well, this painting session, I'm going to get the base coat done on this guy, and I'll sit down for an hour and get that done. But that's like my everything else goes away. I'm doing that. I can relax and I'm creating something. I'm getting to flex some sort of creativity and do something that I get a point at the end. Can sit down and play a video game or watch a movie or something, but at the end of it, I haven't done anything. Whereas painting, even if I haven't finished something, I can see, right, okay, I have done this. I've achieved something. So
Definitely. I can definitely understand that. I appreciate that. I appreciate that immensely, because then it's not a stressful thing, it's a stress reliever.
yeah, yeah, I don't destroy my wife will always say that I don't get stressed. It's not how I how I function as a human being.
Good.
So I don't get stressed about many things, but if I ever do, then this is how I de-stress. So yeah,
And then do you listen to anything? Do you watch anything, or do you just sit in silence and paint?
I try and do hobby hangouts and things. So I'll have um, I always have set painting times each week where the kids leave me alone, the wife goes and does her thing, and
Mhm.
that's my painting time, and I am, that's my time to do as I wish with. And so I will either put on a Twitch stream of someone painting and chatting away with his audience, or I will jump in a hobby hangout and see if I can corral some other people to come and just talk about painting, chat about what we're doing, or just chat absolute nonsense, whatever
I mean, it's
whatever
always
other people
great
want to
to
talk about.
argue, the politics of a, not real world politics, but like politics of like, oh, well, this is why Kador is right, and this is why Signar is right. And
Yeah,
one
exactly.
of
And
my
this
old
is
game
why
stores
Cephalics run everything. Cephalics are in charge of the entire Iron Kingdoms.
well, you know what? Then there would be peace. Let's be honest. Then there would be no
Exactly.
arguing. I had it at my old game store. They said you can argue any politics or religion of a game system, but no real world. And I was like, if I ever opened a game store, that's what the sign I would have too. It's like, leave the real world at the door. We're here to argue about little many metal minis and what we're gonna do with them.
It. It's like the age-old comic book arguments of who would win in a fight, this person or that person, isn't it? And then we can discuss
Oh
those
yeah,
things as well.
is
Yeah,
Superman gonna beat the Hulk, or like, oh yeah, those good ones.
it's always Doctor Manhattan. Doctor Manhattan's always going to win. That's it. Simple as.
it's it's true though. Let's be honest. Or it's like,
Exactly. You can't.
who's gonna have the moral win? And then it gets, oh, that really
Oh,
gets into it.
that's it.
I used
And
to
it's
argue with
Cephalics. Cephalics have the moral win too, because they just change what the morals are.
it's true. I like to say that Menoth is gonna win. Menoth is gonna win because you're either alive and you follow them, or you're burned ash, and then it doesn't matter.
Then your soul goes to Arcane, and you can go and serve Menoth there. So yeah.
Exactly. See, you know. Well, we've been going here for almost 50 minutes. Thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for telling me about your painting, your suggestions. I definitely hope people go and check your guys' stuff out. It's super awesome. They have great fluff. They have great painting techniques. So again, thank you so much. Thank you for showing me your mini that you did beautifully with the other light source. That looked great. And thank you for telling me about how you paint and why you do it. So everyone, oh here, no, tell them again. Tell them where to find you.
Yeah, so we are on YouTube. Just search Blackwater Cantina. Shockingly, our logo is a big Cephalix face, so I wonder who was in charge of that. Um, but yeah, come join us, give us a listen, like, subscribe, all of those
All of
wonderful
those good things.
algorithmic things. Yeah,
Well,
cool.
thank you again so much. Thank you for everyone who turned out. As always, I always have that muted so I can't see if people are actually out there or if it's just him and I chatting. But even if it's just you just chatting online with no one there, sometimes it's a thing that it can either help someone or just help yourself. So again, thank you. I'm Alec of Let's Get You Painted and of the Twitch channel Racked and Confused, and I hope you guys all have a wonderful day and get to painting.